What up, people? This is your Cosmic Homegirl, and I'm doing a monthly forecast for the month of July of 2020. This is just covering the most important transits that are popping off for the month of July for us all. Unfortunately, I will not have July horoscopes, excuse me, for each sign available on my website this month. You know, the world is a crazy place right now. There's a lot of things that just changes that just pop out of the blue, especially with Uranus being in Taurus. Taurus is our comfort zone and our regular things that we do and have in life. And yeah, when Uranus is in that sign, those things are disrupted like hella, okay, like big time. And I'm a Taurus. You guys know, I have like 4 planets in Taurus. So Uranus is hitting me. So it's like every day you could wake up to something different. It's just crazy. But yeah, I planned on having July forecasts for each sign out, but I will not be able to do that this month. I'm hoping to have those return again in August. So I appreciate you guys who go with the flow of the freaking crazy changes of the world and my life. So anyway, I hope everybody is safe and healthy and has a good month of July. As I'm recording this, there are supposedly spikes in the Rona again. And I did mention in the weekly forecast for the week starting with June 28th of 2020 that once Saturn goes back into Capricorn, that's when we will start to see more lockdowns. And then it was announced the next day that yes, indeed, they are implementing lockdowns, at least in the region of the world that I live in. We did start to see that happening. And then I had one of my homies, my astro homies from the UK, report to me that in their part of the world, in their neck of the woods, they're starting to fall back on the, on the opening up of things too, and start to lock things down once again and have the rules, be back to being even more strict again. And the reason for this is because of Saturn going back into Capricorn. Now, when all this stuff started being announced, Saturn is at the 0 degree of Aquarius. And Saturn, it does rule restrictions. It does rule the government and the rules and the structures that the government implements, right? Saturn rules businesses and stuff like that too. Aquarius rules social gathering. So once Saturn stepped into Aquarius, and this was a few months ago in like at the end of March. Once or was it the end of March or February? Let's see. Once Saturn stepped into Aquarius, okay, so it was at the end of March. That's when we really started seeing all the social distancing stuff go into full mother effect, okay, to where people were like, yo, you have to wear a mask, and the whole toilet paper scarcity happened, and just the whole thing started kicking into high gear with the virus, and then, oh no, you can't go here and there, and like, things shutting down and whatnot, right? As Saturn stepped into Aquarius, 0 degrees. Now Saturn is back at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And when Saturn went retrograde, what was it, in May, I want to say? Yeah, in May, Saturn went retrograde. And it was like right around this time is when places were like, okay, we're going to reopen, but we have new things put into place, new rules. Saturn is the rules, the restrictions, discipline, and all that. We have new rules to prevent, which Saturn prevents and stops things, social gathering too closely, which Aquarius, once again, is social gathering. Saturn can also make distance between things, because Saturn, it rules the sign of Capricorn, and Saturn and Capricorn are not about that life when it comes to, hey, and being social and like carousing and, just kicking it. Saturn is about, no, we must blah, 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 whatever is for the good of for the greater good. That's what we must do, even if that means we can't be around people. That's how Capricorn energy is about that. Saturn energy is about that. So that's why we had, when Saturn and Aquarius went retrograde, it's like, okay, we're going to go back on what we put into place when Saturn entered Aquarius and was direct in Aquarius. We're going to fall back, okay? And we're going to ease up on the restrictions. So businesses started reopening, but with rules. You have to have a mask on if you're at a restaurant, unless you're eating, right? During this time, I did go to a restaurant one time for a special occasion, and they had a security guard that was waiting at the door to take our temperature, like the forehead temperature, the forehead thermometer. And we had to wear a mask going in. Indeed, all the servers were wearing masks. Everything, all that stuff was put into place. And if you notice, all the businesses, including like your local grocery stores, especially the major chains, everybody was required to put the stickers that said like, this is 6 feet apart, distancing from each other. They had to have signs. They had to change their entrances to, like, all these changes were put into place with Saturn and Aquarius. Saturn and Aquarius is what is putting the new normal, quote unquote, into place. Aquarius rules things that are abnormal, like not the average, that are new, different, weird, and Saturn is about the tried and true that's been around forever, for ages, for a long time. So when you combine those two together, it's like they represent different things, like totally opposite things, right? But they're trying to work together. So any businesses that want to still be standing in the place that they have been forever, okay, which is Saturn, they have to do some new and different and weird things, which is Aquarius. So it was structuring that, putting that into place. Once Saturn was retro, it's like, okay, you can open back up, you can do what you always do, but you're going to have to do it differently, right? So now that Saturn is at that 0 degree of Aquarius, where it was at the end of March, we see, okay, you know what? Guess what, everybody? We're going to be shutting everything down once again. No bars, no gyms, no social gathering, no movie theaters, no, there's a lady that I work with, and she, like, as soon as that announcement came out, she told me, like, wow, my daughter works at a water park. And she just texted me and said that they are shutting down until further notice. So she doesn't have a job anymore. I was like, yo, that's crazy. So, no water parks, no nothing, right? And then me being a Pisces moon mermaid, no beaches. Yo. Yes, that is, I'm crying mermaid tears because of the no beaches. But at the same time, it's understandable of why, okay? So now that Saturn is at the 0 degree of Aquarius, that's what's popping off, that's what's happening. Then once Saturn goes back into Capricorn, it's really going to be a time to rework things as far as businesses and how they're going to be operating, and the restrictions are going to become more real once again. But then we're going to have Mars and Aries this whole month in July, and also in August. We're going to have Mars and Aries for like a freaking long ass time, right? Until the beginning of January 2021. But Mars just stepped into Aries. You better believe people are going to be even angrier about protecting who and what is their own. So being defensive and rebelling, Aries energy doesn't give a big time, okay? And it squares the energy of Capricorn. It challenges the energy of Capricorn. Capricorn is like, no, you can't move, you can't go out, you can't do nothing. And Aries is like, whatever, I do what I want. It's very just like, very about being solo, doing your own thing, no matter what anybody says, So because of that, this is what may be happening. Like, there may be riots again. Hopefully not, but there may be riots again. People rebelling and rioting against society and the government and what they're trying to implement once again to restrict everybody from doing what they want to do. So people are going to be mad. And then we've got, this energy hanging out in Cancer. Cancer is about protecting your own as well. Both Cancer and Aries, even though they also square each other on the zodiac wheel, both of those signs are about protecting their own, about whoever your own is to you, whether that's your blood family or maybe people you consider family that's not necessarily blood, or if you count your people who are yours, to be like based on race, based on some other label, a group, you know, that you count as your own. You want to protect them. You want to stick by them. You want, if you feel like they're being treated unfairly, or you're going to gather together with those people and be like, no, you know? So there's even more of that attitude popping off in the month of July, the whole entire month, because we're going to have a cardinal square. It's not necessarily going to be by degree. I'm going to be a nerd real quick, okay? By degree, it's not going to be a cardinal square necessarily the whole month, because the planets in Capricorn are at the later degrees. The planets in Aries are at early degrees. And then of Cancer, they're at early degrees too. More towards later in the month, we will have a new moon, which I'll get to that, you know, in date order, of course. But we will have a new moon that's like opposing all this stuff and everything at the end of the month, that is counted by degree as a cardinal square, which means it's even more intense and challenging. With all the things that these signs, Cappy, Aries, and Cancer, all represent. They're going to be battling it out against each other in this intense energy, okay? So yeah, just prepare for the month of July to have some more crazy, like, extreme ups and downs. Globally, internationally, nationally, locally, whatever. And maybe even within yourselves, you know, there could be a lot of internal conflict. Like you feel like you're being pulled in different directions in very intense ways. And it all depends on where Cancer, Aries, and Capricorn land in your own natal charts, okay? So if you know your chart, then you know these areas, and these are the hot spots to really look out for, like big changes happening, for tension and stuff like that, okay? So we do have Mars and Aries the whole entire month. Very motivational, very go-getter energy, very no nonsense, no patience at all, no chill is Mars and Aries. I will say that once Mars hits Chiron in a conjunction with each other, I would say that can be a time to kind of worry about, you know, just because, let's see, when is this? July 14th. So like in the middle of the month, when Mars and Chiron are in conjunction with one another, there can be some things that pop off to where people want to protect their own, and they feel hurt and pain based on that, and they want to take action based on that hurt and pain, okay? And wherever Aries is at in your own chart, you may feel this too. Now Mars and Aries, they both rule the head, they rule blood and injury, and Chiron can rule pain, meaning physical pain. So I would say to be mindful of the whole entire time that Mars is in Aries, actually, over the next like 5 to 6 months, of there's a higher risk of head injury and headaches, head injury and headaches and pain, okay? Excuse me. So definitely be aware of that, but especially during this transit in the middle of the month of July. And with that, I will say this: even if you have like a minor head injury, make sure you get that checked out, okay? Like the whole time Mars is in Aries. As a lot of you guys know that follow me, I did have someone that I was once very, very close with pass away recently. They were in Aries. He was in Aries stellium. He had a wealth of planets in the sign of Aries, and Aries rules the head. And what they're speculating is that he had a head injury that he got while working, and he didn't think it was that serious. So he went home, and nobody heard from him for the whole weekend. And then Monday morning, he didn't show up for work. And so his family went to check on him, and they found him, no longer, they found him unresponsive, okay? So he is no longer here on this earth, which is still very hard for me to say. But he's in Aries stellium. And like I said, Aries rules the head. And especially if you are in Aries while Mars is in your sign, and Chiron, which rules pain and injury physically a lot of times too, is in your sign, please be mindful, be careful. And even if it's just a minor thing, Don't be stubborn and don't be, Aries has the horns, right? All the horned creatures, Aries, Taurus, and Capricorn, we're like hella all stubborn. All the horned creatures are really stubborn and don't always jump to go to the doctor and stuff like that. We're like, no, we're fine. We'll march along, to especially my Aries people, but everybody, because this is a transit everybody will be experiencing. Just be careful and be mindful of that fact, okay? Get it checked out if you have anything happen to your head, okay? Please do. The middle of the month of July, there's a high risk for things like that. So really be careful with any of your actions. Mars and Aries in itself is very impulsive, and Mars rules just any physical actions that you take. So be very careful, okay? In mid-July especially. So a good transit that we will have this month in July is Venus and Mars are actually making good aspects to each other. They're making a sextile to each other the whole month. Now, this is a very minor aspect, you guys. I hardly ever cover sextiles, just because they can more easily go unnoticed. Unlike harsh transits like a conjunction between two planets, an opposition, and a square. Trines I cover sometimes too. Trines are, you could feel the effects of trines. They're usually positive, but sometimes they can open the door to some bullshit too, okay? Not gonna lie. But sextiles are usually like easygoing flows and aspects and conversations between two planets, right? Energy exchanges between two planets. So Venus and Mars will be getting along this month, and hallelujah, I am so happy to hear that, because Venus rules the feminine, Mars rules the masculine. So maybe that'll help us out a little bit within relationships between masculine and feminine creatures, to get along with each other a little better. Okay, hopefully it'll be good for healing relationship stuff, especially after we had Venus retro. Oh my god, the relationship effery that I have heard other people reporting to me has been insane ups and downs. So hopefully it'll be good between the masculine and feminine this month in July. Okay, we're gonna need that amongst all the crazy that could possibly happen. So good thing with that. Now, so I talked about Saturn going back into Capricorn. Excuse me, this happens exactly on July 1st. It can be, let's see, it can be it can be counted as June 30th, depending upon where you live, I think. But yeah, Saturn goes back into Capricorn, okay? And Saturn is going to be in Capricorn. It's going to be retrograde until September 28th. And then it's going to be in the sign of Capricorn until December 16th. So we have like 5.5 months to go back and rework things for the very last time in the sign of Capricorn with Saturnian matters. Okay, so wherever Capricorn is at in your chart, you're not going to experience Saturn there for another like 28 to 30 years. Hallelujah, right? So, but as far as like collectively, this is where we're going to see, unfortunately, more businesses are going to announce that they are shutting down. And they're preparing for the new normal with businesses with Saturn and Aquarius once we hit December of 2020 and beyond for the next couple of years, Saturn and Aquarius, to where it's going to make way for businesses that are remaining open to continue on in Aquarian ways, which is implementing more technology, Wi-Fi, the internet, people working remotely from home and other places, and social distancing rules being even more enforced. We're making way for that by Saturn going back into Capricorn and getting rid of crumbling down old structures when it comes to business, corporations, commerce, and stuff. And Capricorn is a financial sign too, because it rules big business. And in order for, businesses and corporations to run, we have to have money, right? So Capricorn is a big money sign. It's a big boss sign. So with Saturn going back here, we are going to see maybe a lot of businesses, unfortunately, will go bankrupt. And some of them may restructure and regroup financially during this period, so that once Saturn hits Aquarius, once again, they will still stand, but with new rules and new structures. Okay. So in your personal life, I mean, yeah, there can be some things that are being reworked, crumbling down the old to make way for the new ways of doing things. So that begins on July 1st. And then Saturn is going to be in Capricorn from 29 to 27 degrees in the month of July. So we are seeing a repeat, or we're going back over things from the end of February until the end of March, from like February 20 something to like March 21st of 2020. If you remember what was going on during that time, especially if you know your own natal chart and where Capricorn is, those areas are being reworked, gone back over again. So yeah, it just depends on what it is for you. But yeah, we're going back over the end of February to the end of March. Okay. So on the 4th of July, or it can be the 5th, depending upon where you're at in the world, we do have an eclipse in the sign of Capricorn and Cancer, because this is a lunar eclipse. So that means it's a full moon, which means the sun and the moon are opposing each other. There's a lot of pressure building up between these two luminaries, and it's like, and they are squaring Mars, honey. Okay. Squaring Mars and squaring Chiron. So this is the beginning of some of the stuff I was telling you guys about that could be popping off in July. And this is July 4th, which here in the US, that is a holiday to celebrate the US's independence, right? I would say to be very careful. They're already putting stuff on lockdown, restrictions from people gathering and going places. So we may not have a July 4th like we usually do here in the States, where people, they go out, they gather, they watch fireworks with like thousands of other people, and there's all this fucking traffic backed up. Oh my gosh. I love the fireworks of July 4th, but I hate the traffic and all the screaming kids and just like, oh my God, it's just crazy. But and all the crowds, I don't really dig that. But I don't think we're gonna have a normal one to where you can get together and watch fireworks and stuff like that in a public place. But I would still say that if you're in the States, be very careful with wherever you go because of this eclipse energy. It's intense on its own. And then we have Mars and Chiron and Aries. And with the state of the world and the country right now, we could see people do some rebellious, crazy things to like rebel against the government and, all the restrictions and stuff like that, especially with this energy. So just be careful. Just try to be low key on July 4th. We can survive 1 year with having a low key 4th of July. Can't we? Okay. Or just stick to like your family who's Rona free, of course. And just, whomever you really truly know and trust, and avoid the crazy on July 4th. Seriously, eclipse days, there can be things that do pop off on the days of eclipses, the exact days, but a lot of times we start to feel the pressure of them build up and see the effects of them like a month, up to a month before, and then 6 months after. Okay, so it may not be on July 4th that there's something big that happens, but hey, the possibility is always there. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed. You know what I'm saying? So in general, this eclipse in Capricorn and Cancer, Capricorn, like I said, it rules the government. And then we've got now this gang up again of these major outer planets in Cap 2 along with the eclipse. So yeah, expect to hear some really huge things from whoever your government leaders and officials are, wherever you're at. Some really big announcements leading up to July 4th, but also on July 4th and 5th, okay? So expect the world to change once again, So, as a matter of fact, I had planned a trip with my kids to go to the beach to have a really nice like family beach day on July 4th, and then they announced that the beaches are closed over here in Cali, and I'm like, yo, like I had just booked our reservations, you know what I'm saying, to be able to stay and hang out, and then it's like boom, the next day, guess what, you guys, we're shutting everything down. So that's just how the world is. And I really hated to disappoint my boys, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like to not deliver what I promised to my kids, especially. But it's just how the world is. So expect some more surprises, you guys. Dang, that's all I could say. Um Now, on the 12th of July, this is when Mercury goes direct. Let me see. Is it listed over here? Mercury goes direct. No, it's not. Okay. So I just got to manually skip ahead to the 12th of July. No biggie. So, Mercury goes direct at 5 degrees of Cancer. What's with this 5th degree this year with the retrogrades? Like, Venus went direct at 5 degrees. She got back down to 5 degrees of Gemini, and then, Mercury 5 degrees of Cancer, then to go direct. So wherever if you have 5 degrees of anything in your chart, it might be a really important aspect, an important, area of life that could be activated with some big changes. But anyway, so Mercury goes direct on July 12th. Hallelujah, right? We've had Mercury retrograde in Cancer. All this remember the time nostalgia that's emotionally fueled. Oh my God, I've been drowning in it, you guys. As a water sign, of double water, it's so hard to not get caught up in the feels when Mercury's in Cancer in general. But then when it's retrograde, Mercury in Cancer already is like I said, like super nostalgic. Like it's about like memories of the past and really getting caught up in them. Everything triggers a memory with Mercury in Cancer. Everything. Like even just like a melody that you hear, a song can take you back to a feeling and the time of that feeling and what was going on. And you find, like, even doing laundry, you find a clothing item and it reminds you of what you were when the last time you wore it. What were you doing? What were you feeling? Who were you with? And what songs you heard? Like everything is like that while Mercury's in Cancer in general. And then when it's retrograde, it's like double, you guys. So I hope everybody is riding that nostalgic Mercury retrograde in Cancer wave. Like, I hope everybody's doing okay with it and not going crazy, you know what I'm saying, with all the memories. Mercury and Venus were retrograde at the same time for a hot minute. And yeah, people were reporting to me like, yo, I've had exes come back and blah, 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 blah. It's been crazy with the retro activities, okay? Now Venus, I'm sorry, Mars, Lord have mercy. Mercury is still retrograde as I'm recording this, so I'm fumbling my words. Please pardon my mistakes, okay? But Mercury is going direct on July 12th, but it'll be in its shadow period, I'm going to say, till roughly around the 26th of July. So for about 2 weeks after. And how we see this, you guys, is once Mercury gets back to past the degree that it went retrograde at, that's when we know it's like out of its shadow period and it's in the clear. So in this case, Mercury went retrograde at 14 degrees of Cancer. So once Mercury passes 14 degrees of Cancer again, it'll be out of its shadow period and it'll press forward and get to like 15 degrees and beyond, which it didn't even get a chance to touch because it was retrograde. So that's how we figure that out. Okay. So yeah, it's like the 26th, 27th of July, excuse me, is when we can see Mercury out of that zone of 0 to 14 degrees where it was retrograde. And then things may be more clear. Things will come out in the wash, as they say. Okay. But yeah, on the 12th is when Mercury goes direct. Okay. Now on the 20th, this is when we have a new moon right here, a new moon in the sign of Cancer at 28 degrees. So this is the sun and moon together, and they are cultivating something. A lot of times new moons can wipe out something. It's a dark moon. You can't see her in the sky. And sometimes she goes dark and she wipes away something old, so that in the days following, when she is visible again and quote unquote growing in the sky, things are moving forward, like something new, some seeds of something new are planted and can start to grow and cultivate and move forward, okay, in the days and the weeks following the new moon date. But sometimes she goes black, she goes dark, darkness spreading. And then she gets rid of something old, clears it away, and then plants the seeds for something else to come into fruition wherever Cancer is in your chart. But in the sign of Cancer in general, it can have to do with like things surrounding like motherhood, your relationship with your own mother or your family, maternal instincts, maternal energy in general in your life, and maybe your emotional well-being, because Cancer is a very emotional sign. The sign of Cancer rules like your deepest emotions, ruling like the fourth house of like, emotional stuff within your personal life, within your world, within your little shell, honey. Okay, whoever you keep in your shell, near and dear to you, whomever or whatever is dear to you. Cancer rules all of that. It can deal with like roots and history and family stuff like that as well. We already had a new moon in Cancer, but it was at 0 degrees and it was in June and it was an eclipse. So this is a follow-up to that eclipse. And the sun and the moon in Cancer are going to be opposing all this stuff hanging out here, ganged up in mean old stingy Capricorn. And I know some Caps will probably get mad at me. Oh my God, why are you talking bad about Capricorns? You're canceled. With all this freaking cancel culture that goes on. Listen, I'm sarcastic and I characterize and humanize the signs and the planets. Capricorn energy can be grumpy and stingy. Okay, that's one character of many characteristics of the sign. I do talk good about the signs, but I will clown here and there. Okay, I grew up on a lot of comedy since I came out of the womb, so I tend to joke around and be sarcastic. So don't get your little granny panties in a bunch, Cappies. Okay, I have a lot of Cappies close to me. Some of my closest, nearest, and dearest that I call my siblings, one blood and the rest are not blood, but they feel like blood, are Capricorns. Okay, so just don't even try it. But anyways, the new moon is opposing all these planets in Capricorn. So yeah, it's squaring. I mean, it's opposing them. So that opposition can bring a lot of tension. Usually new moons can be a time of like release of something old and the growth of something new. And so there's not as much pressure and tension as like when we have full moons. What the hell? Oh my gosh. Why is the cat meowing at my door? Hold it. That's rude. That's weird. Anyway, sorry for the rude interruption. But anyway, yeah. So the new moon in Cancer can still have pressure building up because of the opposition of all these planets in Capricorn. So and these guys can be kind of bullies. Not Jupiter, but like Saturn and Pluto can be kind of bullies. Like, just picture these mobsters just like, punching their hand like, yo, what do we need to pummel around this place over here, and get rid of it and throw it out in order for newness to be grown. Like, who do we need to replace around here, So maybe there's something in your life that applies to in that type of a way. But Jupiter does rule growth and expansion and manifesting good things, So I don't know. So these three are opposing the new moon in Cancer. So I would say they are trying to bring something new, but get rid of the old, especially because of this. Okay. So the Cancer Capricorn axis is definitely activated. So it can be about like preserving things, because Cancer energy likes to preserve the old. It likes things to stay the same. Cancer these are cardinal signs, which they say cardinal signs are about change. But you know what? Just thinking of the characteristics of the signs themselves, Cancer likes things to stay the same. They dwell in nostalgia. They hang on and cling on to what's comfortable to them. And that includes things of the past. So they don't like to let go, So this could be about preservation of and conservation of things from the past. And then Capricorn is about keeping the past preserved and conservation of it as well, and moving forward into the future with the past still very relevant. And because it's about like, your forefathers and what they brought to the blah blah blah, and like recognizing history. Both of these signs are about history, respecting history and keeping history alive are both of these signs. Okay, so because of that, there's something maybe just collectively that we are experiencing with trying to preserve and conserve history. While we push forward in the new normal of the world, we got to keep some history still alive and recognized and respected. There could be things about your family and about elders, and higher ups and authority figures and stuff that it comes about with this new moon in Cancer as well. Um, okay, so we have on the 22nd, this is when the sun moves into Leo. And Leo season begins, honey. And also on this day, the moon is in Leo. The day that the sun steps into Leo, the moon is in Leo too. So there's a lot of fierce Leo energy in the air. And I am so happy about this, you guys, because it is a good shift in energy from all the Cancerian energy of it all. That is very deeply emotional. And I'm not saying emotions are bad. Like I said, I'm double water. In my big three, two of them are water signs. So I am always caught up in my feels, unfortunately. But feelings are not all bad. I just say unfortunately because if you are made with a lot of water sign energy, or there's a lot of water sign energy in the air, you can drown in your emotions, and it drowns out logic a lot of times, and it can handicap you. You feel like you're crippled from moving forward with practical matters and day-to-day stuff and responsibilities. It so that's why I say unfortunately, because if you have a lot of shit to do, you have a lot of responsibilities, you have a lot of business to take care of, and there's a lot of water energy in the air or within your chart, it makes it so hard to press forward. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say everything is awesome in the sky and in the world all the time. No. There is a downside to everything. A good and a bad to everything. And I always look at both sides of the coin, being a seventh houser. Okay. Yes, having an abundance of water sign energy in the air, it could be sometimes a Debbie Downer energy. And yes, you're drowning in your feels and you can't really get much done. So it is a great shift to switch into some fierce Leo energy. Leo energy is fire. The sun does well in the sign of Leo because the sun is a fiery, entity. Okay. It is like masculine energy, which is about action and movement and shining out there, and the sun is about status and being seen and all this stuff, and it rules the sign of Leo, so it thrives in the sign of Leo. So this is everybody's time to shine. Leos are going to be Leoing hardcore the whole entire freaking month. Okay, happy birthday early in advance to all my Leo people. You guys are dope. You guys are usually the life of the party. Bring the party to any and everything. And you're like, look at me, everybody. Me. You guys are the sun card in tarot, the little naked kid on the horse with all the sunflowers. Like, hey, what's good? Yes, I'm naked to the world, but I look good being naked. Okay, so everybody needs to see all of this. It doesn't matter what you look like. Okay, what your body type is. Leo energy makes you feel like you are on top of the world, and everybody needs to see that fact. Okay, and they need to see what you're wearing while you're on top of the world. So Leo energy is an awesome shift from drowning in the fields of Cancer. So there's more energy in the air, more fire sign energy, because we still have Mars and Aries, and we can all have this like go-getter energy, more of a go-getter energy. Oh geez Louise. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I just gotta work from one of my jobs. That's like, yeah, I was gonna go to one of my other jobs. I had to pick something up. Now I just got an email that's saying stay home. So I'm like, what the hell? So I might have to have it mailed to me. I'm just like, yo, I was looking forward to stopping by and saying what's good to everybody. But I guess not. Like, oh my gosh. See, the world changes every single day, you guys. Every single day is something new. It's crazy. And speaking of that, so we have the sun in Leo, right? It steps into Leo. We have Mars and Aries in a fire sign. So very fiery energy in the sky towards the end of July, which is good for just like getting things done and staying super motivated and active, physically active especially. people are on their bullshit, but in a good way though. Like, hey, like really confident. I like seeing this fire energy at the end of the month. However, the sun will be squaring Uranus, okay? Right when he steps into Leo. In the days following, especially, I'll say from the 24th on, it's like strongest because there's that 8-degree orb that I use personally. But the sun will be squaring Uranus, challenging Uranus. So that's like Uranus rules sudden weird things happening, just popping off, all of a sudden. So expect the unexpected even more when we have a harsh aspect to Uranus. So the sun is the ego and shining out there and status and stuff, and being challenged by Uranus, that could be a very rebellious energy. So as a collective, we can be feeling very rebellious, like, yo, I want to be me and be who I am and do what I want. And then Uranus, the square to Uranus could be like you just really feeling that type of vibe and expressing it out there. It could be so subtle as like through your appearance, like rocking some different gear, rocking a different look, or I always find that heavy Uranus transits make people want to get tattoos, piercings, crazy haircuts, hair color, and stuff like that. And wear more like Uranus and Taurus, and I'm a Taurus. It's been like really starting to hit all my Taurus stuff. And I found that all the clothes that I've been buying, a lot of them have had like rips and tears and chains and all this like crazy rebel stuff, right? And then I started this job that has a dress code, but I'm like, yo, any moment that I can get away with violating dress code, yo, I'm doing it, because Uranus is hitting me right now to where I'm like, whatever, I do what I want, I dress what I want. And it's hitting my sun in Taurus. My sun is at 10 degrees Taurus, right? So I'm like, whatever, I wear what I want. I express myself through the sun, and Uranus is hitting the sun. So it's like, I'm going to wear the rips and chains and the crop tops and whatever, F your dress code, right? So collectively, when we have the sun having this aspect to Uranus, everybody will get a dose of that, And yes, I've been planning tattoos. It's just the Rona has hit and there's been restrictions on that. So, but I'm like, every day I'm thinking about these tattoos. I'm designing them in my head. You know what I'm saying? So, collectively, when we have this aspect, this is what everybody may be feeling towards the end of July. Okay. But it can play out with Mars being in Aries, a very rebellious sign in itself, and it ruling action. Maybe there can be some outbreak at the end of July of like people wanting to rebel against, the powers that be, which is all this Capricorn stuff, right? And no, I want to do what I want, and against the government rules. So yeah, this email I just got from one of my jobs, it's like, the governor says until further notice, stay home. I'm like, yo, man, I was looking forward to seeing some of my coworkers. I'm like, ay. Anyway, so yeah, that's the world we live in right now, you guys. So now on the 27th, Venus is going to be squaring Neptune. I'll cover this more in the weeklies during that week of July 26th. But on the 27th, we have Venus square Neptune. And this, where's she at? Yeah, 20 degrees of Gemini is Venus and 20 degrees of Pisces is Neptune. So they are squaring each other exactly on that day. It's building up, I would say, like a few days to a week before the 27th. And with this, of course, Venus tings, love and money is what Venus rules in general. Be very cautious, be very careful. Don't let anybody swindle you or sway you or take you for granted, take advantage of you, take advantage of your feelings. Neptune can make things disappear, reappear and disappear. Neptune and Pisces both rule magic, like magic tricks and stuff like that. Don't let anybody, Venus can rule relationships between yourself and other people. So don't let anybody pull any little magic tricks like, I'm here and then poof, I'm gone, ghost, I can't stand that ghosting shit. It's so stupid. Like, why can't people just talk to each other, communicate honestly, and be like, yo, I'm just not feeling this anymore, I'm sorry, like, Just be honest, man. Oh my gosh. So yeah, if you, and this is in tricky mutable signs too. Mutable signs are notorious for ghosting. All four of them, including Virgo. Virgo tries to play it innocent, like, I would never, I am a perfect angel and I respect everyone and I'm just a Poindexter that just studies all day and does nothing wrong. Like, Virgo plays that role so well, but they are notorious for ghosting too. Virgo rules the Hermit card. Hermit, what does hermiting away mean? You're hiding away, you're ghosting. When the Hermit card comes out, especially in love readings, that means a motherfucker is ghosting, hiding, hermiting away from you. They're peeking one eyeball out from the bushes, or they're watching your stories. You know what I'm saying? Looking at you on social media. But direct contact, oh no, they're hiding from all of that, right? So all the mutable signs, Virgo, Sag, Pisces, Gemini, known for ghosting, and we have Venus square Neptune and mutable signs. Do not do that ghosting stuff with people. Do be honest, okay? And hey, people might try to pull that little trick with you. You know what I'm saying? To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Prepare yourself. Don't take everything that people say as gospel when we have a Venus square Neptune. Neptune makes things vanish. Poof. You know what I'm saying? And also be cautious with your material goods, your money, because Venus square Neptune can make things vanish and disappear unbeknownst to you, or like unexpectedly or unintentionally. Also, like, you can lose your glasses, lose your keys, lose your wallet, you know, stuff like that, because Venus is your material things that you carry around every day and any of your possessions. Okay. So love and money, be very careful at the end of the month, because Venus is still technically, when she's making this exact square, she is technically still in shadow period. Now, once Venus gets past 21 degrees? Once she gets past 21 degrees of Gemini, she is in the clear and out of that shadow period zone. So I would say the 29th, okay? The 29th of July, she's technically out of shadow period, but she's still squaring Neptune, so there could still be some shady business going on. And like I said, Venus and Mars are making great aspects to one another this month, a sextile. It's a very faint, light energy exchange between the two planets. So there's some positive things there, but this is a harsh aspect that may trump over that sextile at the end of the month. So just be aware of that, okay? So yeah, that's it, you guys, for the month of July. I think I've talked enough, and I've been interrupted because Mercury is still retro while I'm recording this. Interrupted so rudely by the cat meowing at my door for an unknown reason. Okay, I'm sure she's fine. And then getting this crazy email from one of my jobs saying, stay home, don't come in at all. The governor said so. Saturn and Capricorn, retrograde, right? Lord have mercy. I hope you guys have a good month. I hope it's not filled with too many crazy surprises. And, you know, just stay safe out there, stay healthy and everything. And I will keep up with everybody on the weeklies. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram. A lot of times in my stories, I post little tidbits about what's going on in the world, astrologically speaking. I'm not consistently on there every single day, all day, and consistent with every transit, because, hey, I'm still partially human, I think. And life happens, especially with Uranus hovering over my whole entire existence. Yeah, there's a lot of extreme ups and downs, and sometimes I may be on there, sometimes I'm not. But when I am, I do give tidbits, and I do have a tab, a highlights tab on my profile on Instagram labeled horoscopes, and I do my best to let you guys know what's going on. More info on the current transits and stuff on that tab too. So you can always look there if I have nothing active in my stories on every single day, okay? So thank you guys for listening to all my rambling, and once again, stay safe and healthy, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, peace.